And welcome, I almost said Star Trek, to Doctor Who, the 60th anniversary specials, starting with the Star Beast. It has been 5 long years, but I promise I set this up. Hang on. I set you up. Why do you not recognize? There we go. It is so good to see those words written by Russell T Davies. Yes, welcome to the experiment we'll be doing in lieu of new Star Trek for quite a while. I am also a big Doctor Who fan. Oh wait, let me get rid of those TARDIS ambience. I have seen every episode, barring the missing non-animated ones, because I'm waiting for them to be animated. Except the Toymaker, which I've seen for reasons that if you don't already know should become apparent soon. Yeah, I own a sizable Big Finish collection and growing. Yeah, I'm a Doctor Who fan, so we're gonna give this a go with the specials and hopefully the rest of the series, unless it turns out Doctor Who is very hard to review. You know, sometimes, like, when we did Picard, you're very serialized. It was the narrative. It was not uncommon for a Picard review to hit 2 hours, which is more than double the runtime of the episodes. For Lower Decks, it wasn't too uncommon to be sub 30, like, you know, below the runtime of the episodes. But I think this should go well. And hopefully there are some Whovians, as they're called, in my Star Trek fan base. But yes, it'll be a bit of an interesting one, because we're closing an era here, aren't we, with these specials. If you don't know, the next season with the 15th Doctor is going to be called a Season 1. It's no secret that most people kind of stopped watching sometime around Clara. Most of the people that didn't stopped watching sometime around Chibnall. So, you know, we're kind of wrapping up the Doctor Who that was the 9th Doctor to, well, this stuff before moving into Ncuti. But yeah, this is going to be a bit of a weird review because I'll have so much stuff from the past 15 years. I mean, heck, the past 60 years of the show. But let's get into it. Yeah, if you don't know, actually, let's keep this back up here. If you don't know, the Star Beast is actually an adaptation of, I believe, a 1970s 4th Doctor comic of the same name, which also stars Beep the Meep. I have not read it, but I was familiar with Beep the Meep. There's like a 6th Doctor Big Finish story. Yeah, look, welcome to Doctor Who. We're gonna... if you thought I referenced previous stories in Star Trek, welcome to Doctor Who. With an extended media so big that humanity has generally lost the knowledge of how big the extended media of Doctor Who is. But anyway, yes, the Star Beast is an adaptation of the story, and I don't know much about that, but from what I know of course, Beep the Meep being in the show now, and the Big Finish audio drama I did, he was like, I knew he was basically like a notorious, like the worst gangster in the galaxy kind of thing, like head gangster guy. Head gangster and he would use like the fact that he was adorable to most races as kind of like a disguise. You know, he'd get them to trust him because he's so adorable, and then he'd murder them all horrifically brutally. This is welcome to the extended media back in the day. And so I think, let me silence that phone. I think, actually, hang on. Give me 2 seconds. He's good. There we go. I think that whatever the point was, this episode, if I have a complaint, knowing that about Beep the Meep kind of detracted from this episode a little bit, because it almost became an inevitable unfolding of events where from the trailers, especially so focused on 3 episodes, we know Donna was going to get her memory back. I knew, and I suppose most fans probably knew, that Beep the Meep was the villain. And so in some ways it became an inevitable unfolding of events, which makes it a difficult one to review. Why are the first episodes of a season, where presumably you'd have the biggest audience, they always make me start with a critique. So I think that affected a lot of it. But around that, I think there's a lot to see. If you don't know, Russell T Davies is coming back. He's going to be the showrunner for what looks like the next at least 4 seasons. And he was the guy who did the 9th and 10th Doctors. Surprise, surprise. So we kind of know what to expect from his era, but this was kind of, looking at this, like, how has he changed as a writer? What's he going to bring in his second tenure? And I think we got some interesting glimpses at that. A lot of just what he was in his first tenure, which is not too surprising. I mean, he's still the same person. But shall we just get into it? I do wonder, this whole recap at the start, who it's actually for. Because there's the people who've actually watched this all the way through Jodie and are, like, still here. And, like, yeah, we already know this. There's the people who watched, like, 10, maybe 11, and then jumped off, the sort of general public, who is now going to pop back, who probably also knows this. And then I wonder how many people are genuinely, this is their first episode of Doctor Who. Like, I did find that kind of funny. But yeah, we start off, the 14th Doctor, I was wondering if the show would address this, has actually he's done a fair amount in, like, comics and stuff. I think they're opening up the door so that, like, Big Finish can come in and do stuff with him, and, we can have other stories in extended media, because he's already got his sonic screwdriver. He didn't have his new TARDIS yet, but yeah, we get straight into the action, just bumping into Donna as you do. I don't think I really have too much to say about this, because it's, especially as a fan, kind of it had a lot of what I already knew going in. You've got Donna, you've got her daughter. I really liked her giving away all her money to charity. Okay, let's pick a little more flattering frame. There we go. I like Donna getting her money away to charity. That was a nice way to address it. I was kind of disappointed with the Doctor's reaction of, like, why would you do that? Because a lot of, basically everything but, like, the companion support group of Chibnall is, like, when the companions leave the Doctor, they still kind of fight for good, just in the more limited scope of Earth could do. Like, Ace runs a charity foundation, which I think she still does in the show. There's a scene in the Sarah Jane Adventures where it's basically just a list of all the companions who are still on Earth, and they're all just doing, like, amazing things and, like, fighting for good and what's right. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm not upset with, like, kind of the plot point they had of she wanted to be like the Doctor. I mean, fundamentally, that's why all the companions kind of, do their good deeds. But I thought that was a very nice way of wrapping things up. I think the majority of how they handled bringing Donna back after her pretty neat exit was really well done. We'll get to the ending later. But yeah, again, not too much about this. It's just kind of getting into the action. It might feel a little... Oh my god, I just realized something. Sorry, there were some bits where it felt a little like... The pacing was a little jarring almost, where it's like we just met Donna pretty suddenly, whatever. Bam, we moved right into, like, the unit stuff. Bam, we moved right into here. That felt a little odd at some points, but overall, I think it was pretty cohesive. What I just realized, and hey, look at that, Disney Plus has also got a pretty bad time bar, though not as bad as Paramount. Is this the same... Hello, Alex. They've just come back.
Where's the other one?
He's by my feet.
She tested positive for it.
Okay.
we will have to take Comet's next stool sample in to see if he has it.
Okay.
Because it can show up symptomless.
Hopefully no one's eating. Yeah, everything's fine. That we got a new puppy. One of the puppies in the thumbnail, and they're good. They just got a little something we gotta treat. Nothing serious.
Yep, they gave us medication for it. Otherwise, she'll be fine.
Good girl.
But we'll be heading to the event tomorrow later because we probably won't be staying as long.
Cool. You can fill me in after the stream.
Just wanted to quickly give you
Yep.
an update.
If you thought Comet was loud, this one actually speaks. You want to say something? You want to say something to stream? Say something. Oh, little licks. Little licks.
Can you bark? Can you bark for stream?
I should have gotten this set up. Is this the same BBC News actor is back in the Tennant days? Doctor Who BBC News guy. Because I was a little disappointed we didn't get a return of the class. I'm taken aback by all of the pictures are of Ncuti Gatwa.
Because it says Doctor Who News.
Yeah. Not new guy. It's news. Okay. It says Doctor Who BBC News guy, and all the pictures are the 15th Doctor. Announcer. I can't remember. It might be. I was kind of hoping for the return of, like, the American news broadcaster lady.
Where's chat?
Stupid new layout. There's chat. Go away. This is
Nobody's
spoilers.
on
You're
chat.
still on Hartnell. Get out of here. You're still on Ian, Barbara, and Susan. All right.
No, whoever song is they.
Oh my god, let's see. I've completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, not too much. Yeah, okay, we get our first look at the new Sonic, which of course we had seen in the extended stuff. Okay, maybe we don't. I'm gonna skip ahead. This is cool. This is actually a transparent display I can kind of get behind, because the only kind of benefit to displays like this, well, there's two, but this one is, if it's 3D, that's one benefit, but is that they're extraordinarily portable. In every other way, they're just a bit worse because of transparent screens. I've been over this a bit more. But with this new era, I think it's very safe to say that any hopes of the sonic screwdriver kind of taking a bit of a back seat, becoming less of a do-everything, get-out-of-jail-free card, it is slowly escalated into, over the course of 15 years, are gone. Gone are the pretenses of even pretending that it's sound waves. I'm more a little disappointed in that we're still gonna have it as a get-out-of-jail-free card for everything, than I am this display, which actually, I'm not against the display itself, more what it represents. But we'll have to see. Maybe it will just be used more as the screen thing and less of a do anything, get out of jail free. Maybe we can still have them both live in harmony. I mean, Russell T Davies, I have critiques of his era as a whole. I'm not going to say it was perfect. I'm not even really going to say it's the best. I was almost going to say all. I think that almost all of the eras, even modern, like Davis and Moffat, they both have benefits. They both have drawbacks. But yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how his second era differs from his first era. Now, where were we? Entering in. It was nice, I'll say. It was almost kind of weird just seeing, Donna, her mom, back in the normal home. Back in, 2007? No, Martha's first. 8! Oh, blimey, like 15 years ago. There we go, like a blast from the past. I didn't watch Doctor Who as it aired, actually, until Jodie. But it was probably more like closer to 10 years for me, the Donna stuff. But as I said, it was kind of just unfortunate natural unfolding of events. Like, I think it's gonna be a lot better the next special and the one after, where I know, like, the toy maker. I'm familiar, but spoiler wise, I'm probably gonna reference things that are in the trailers that aren't really devastating to know. I won't go too much. There has been a leak that I've not quite read, that basically outlined what the specials are going to be, and I think a bit of the Christmas special, that so far has been proven very right with, like, titles. I'd actually have to check. I should check what it said about this one. But before this aired, the information that we had confirmed had all lined up. I'm not going to talk about stuff like that. I mostly don't know, but I know some theories. I know some bits in there. Hopefully it doesn't ruin the viewings for me. Hello there, the General Grievous 19. I believe you are new, or at least you're not active in the Star Trek reviews. Nice to see new people as always. Nice to see anybody as always. But yeah, I will keep spoilers to things that, like, you would know if you watched the trailers, and even then. Like, sometimes there's dumb things in the trailers. For example, I wish I hadn't watched the trailers for this one, because it added to kind of the natural unfolding of events. Beep the Meep. I think the puppet, I assume it is called, is it a puppet or a costume at this point, is absolutely fantastic. It is amazing. I mean, this is what I want from, like, Doctor Who with a budget. Is just, yeah, that, I mean, even last year, with, like, Carvanista, the dog guy was also fantastic. That costume department, I think the costume department has pulled it out of the park just consistently for quite a few years now. It was disappointing when they went to the CG version, actually, which isn't bad. Like, if it was any other, if you didn't have the puppet, I probably would have been like, that's not the best, but, you know, it's Doctor Who, whatever. It doesn't need to be the best. But after you had this puppet, I'm like, you didn't need to give it the teeth. I don't know. Maybe it was an artistic choice, like make it a little bit more uncanny by making it CG. But I kind of like the juxtaposition of Beep the Meep supposed to be super cute and adorable. And, like, in the audio drama I heard, he would still have, like, the adorable voice when he would talk about horrifically gruesome ways he was gonna murder everybody. But, you know, the point is, this is absolutely a top tier, amazing costume. And in fact, I didn't pay too much attention to the rest of them. This was more of a blowout, like, costume, a standout one. Well, I'll have to pay attention to the bug-eyed ones, because they're... Here we go, let's just skip ahead. The bug-eyed monsters are somewhere in this frame. I don't know, we'll come back to them when I actually land on them. Yeah, here we go. They're like a very classic monster in sort of design. They are the epitome of the bug-eyed monster. They are bug people. Just look at them. They're maybe even a little more static than you might expect from a normal mask. Like something out of Star Wars. Super high value, but they have an older feel to them. But, you know, that's a full-on modern production value. Like, you can't really fault it for anything, so... That is yeah, that's an interesting one. Moving forward, I think we covered that. I want to point out that, Doctor, you are not scientific advisor number 1. You're scientific advisor number 2. Liz Shaw got the position a good, like, 3 hours before you did. I was very disappointed in Russell for not... Like, if I was Russell, I would have had her call out, like, actually, Doctor... He's like, oh, I was advisor number 1. I think Miss Shaw would like a word with you. Oh yeah, expect references to the classic show. As I said, I've seen it all. I've seen everything that there is to see. That's the best. Well, I guess you could look at Telesnaps. But yeah, we've just got the bit from the trailer. It was unfortunate, just the natural unfolding of events, almost. I've just realized, I was gonna say, I wonder if will see more of her, how much of her I expect we will. I've just remembered, we knew the TARDIS was going to have ramps, be wheelchair accessible, because of, I think they said, certain casting choices. And we thought that meant, like, Wilf, Bernard Cribbins? Ooh, I don't remember exactly. Who is in a wheelchair, we've kind of seen. But I bet it's her. Like, I don't know if she's probably not a Kate Stewart replacement, but what was the other lady? Oh my god, Doctor Who's a huge canon. Who was the Osgood? Clara Oswald, Osgood. Oh, yeah, Osgood. It was the Osgood lady who was like a scientific advisor. Hello, the Doctor will see you now. Ooh, that's a good intro. I might have to steal that one in future. Hello, Sean. Or Sheen. It's hard when your name's a homonym. Welcome. It's nice to see so many new people here. I think the first special for the 60th anniversary was good, but not really great. I liked and disliked some things. Yes, I am glad that the new people agree with me. I have this thing I say with the Star Treks a lot, that episode 2s, I think are very particular, because when you have a new show, I know this isn't a new show, but bear with me, when you get the audience into episode 1, you gotta get them hooked for, like, the new story, the new show especially, but, you know, it's gotta be gripping, it's gotta be exciting, you gotta get the audience in and into the seats. Episode 2, very often, you now have the audience, they've come back, but there's a lot about the world you have to establish that you didn't really establish in episode 1 because it's a lot slower. You don't really want to open with a whole bunch of exposition. And so episode 2s can very often be a little slower, kind of dull, a lot more, okay, we hooked you in, now here's actually what's happening. And I think they tend to be a lot weaker. I think this felt a lot like an episode 2. Like, okay, we gotta get Donna back. The story was pretty standard. Like, the actual Beep the Meep story is very standard, which is not uncommon at all with a new Doctor, a new companion. This is similar, where we had to do the legwork to get Donna back. And so we needed kind of a basic story, and it's really just the natural unfolding of events that's kind of the downfall. But even then, it's a basic Doctor Who story, which isn't a crime, because I think I'm going to get to later, kind of a lot of the stuff that mattered, like when we got Donna back, I think was much better executed. And again, the story itself wasn't bad. I just knew what was going to happen, so it wasn't super engaging. I saw the new TARDIS interior, and it was brilliant. Oh, we will get to the new TARDIS interior. I tend to do these kind of chronologically, so that's going to be the end of the stream. But we'll get to the new TARDIS interior. Thank God that crystal monstrosity is gone. I was not a fan of the 13th Doctor's TARDIS, especially after the glory that is the 12th Doctor's TARDIS. Sean, it was like a mix of Men in Black. Okay, screw it. We are in like 16 minutes. The new TARDIS is, okay, no. There we go. Oh, Disney, come back to me. Disney, there we go. Okay, I've got my little timeline back. The new TARDIS is gorgeous. Oh no, are we gonna buffer? There we go. If you didn't know, the new TARDIS was leaked. I actually want to show you is or who 14th Doctor TARDIS leak. There we go. The TARDIS was leaked is this, so we kind of knew what it was going to be. I think I'd seen a set pic where it was half built. I really like this. We'll have to spend some time with it. I don't know. I don't think it's going to beat Capaldi's for me. like, I had a complaint that's like, it might be a little too clinical, like it is just pure right. That's maybe a little generic. But then once you turn the lights on, and especially this purple bit, I saw how dynamic it could be, how much they do. I was like, okay, I'm sold now. It's cozy. I am ready to call this TARDIS home for quite some time. I mean, okay, Disney. Oh my gosh, Disney did not like that. I tried to leave and go to the end of the episode. Hang on, let me try and get that back. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this whole sequence where, oops, can I get it from here? Oh, I have to be careful because this is all like brand new. But yeah, with the lights, I love it. I think that helps because now it's not too clinical once you get this sort of mood lighting in. I love this underside, this undersection. I mean, there's so much you can do with the set. I imagine we'll have something where there's probably fight scenes in the TARDIS. It has the sense of kind of not just going on forever, but winding, maze-like, labyrinthian everywhere. You've got these scanners up here so we can, see the stuff outside. This right here is Disney money. I think Russell T Davies has confirmed this is Disney money. I like the little time rotor up here. The console we didn't get too much of a good look at. I don't think it's anything particularly special, but it fits the room. Again, with this thing, I'm not sure if this is my favorite upper bit. I still think Capaldi's with the books and stuff is my favorite TARDIS, but this is very nice. This is up here. And I hope we see more rooms. More rooms would be interesting. If I have a complaint, and I think what could elevate this TARDIS to a favorite is that it's not lived in. I mean, it's not lived in. Like, this is the first time anybody has ever been in this room. So they might add it in. But the Capaldi's TARDIS I've been hyping so much on, when Matt Smith had it, it wasn't quite there. There was something missing. And then with Capaldi, they added just, like, bookshelves and chalkboards and stuff. And it clicked. In the sense that I like that the Doctor lives in the ship. Like, this is his home. And I really like that. If we get other rooms, if this is an era where we see other rooms of the TARDIS, and, like, this is just the bridge, so to say, and then, there's more lived-in rooms, I think that'll work great. But I love just, we've got the coat there. Like, that adds so much just over here. I know there's not a lot of room for shelving just with these crazy things, but just some extra, not necessarily mess. Like, maybe down here, you could put some chests or something. Like, in here, just a little more... and I'd adore it if this happened over time. Like, he's just entered the TARDIS and slowly things just kind of build up. But no, even if it's not literally the best TARDIS... I think it's great, and I'm very ready to call this home. Goodbye, you crystal monstrosity. Any fans of the Chibnall era, I hope we can get along, but we're going to strongly disagree on a lot of things about that era. Yeah, let's come back. Oh, and I do love... if we get to the ending. I almost wish they kept Jodie's TARDIS. I know it got dismantled, but what destroyed it was that Donna threw coffee on it, and I just would kind of love Donna Noble as the one who destroyed Jodie's TARDIS. But anyway, let's kind of head back. I thought that was fun. Like, that's where they kind of go off into God knows where. I mean, they see Wilf. He's in these specials. So they've got to make it back at some point. I might be a little disappointed if I don't know. I don't know if I'd be disappointed if the joke is we can end up anywhere in time and space, but they just end up next to Wilf anyway. All right, I will say I think the episode definitely was strongest in these last few minutes. Going on, I think I'll talk more about this. No, let's address it. Yeah. I don't know, again, the original story of Beep the Meep. I don't know his origins necessarily. I understood him is just like just a gangster. You know, the biggest, most brutal gangster, but a head gangster. I was a little disappointed, especially kind of as like the sign of a new era, that what they'd written, and yes, this does say written by Russell T Davies, but with the help of some other people, was that Beep the Meep came from a planet that was like entirely peaceful and peace loving, and then their son, something happened and it turned the entire race into like savage, like maniacs, which is, yes, possible. You can definitely tell a story where there's a peaceful society where something happens and they become savage maniacs. But when your very first story has that, sci-fi, and I think Doctor Who in particular, can have a problem of every race is incredibly homogenous. I could go on about how I think Star Trek handles this well, but that's a bit of an off topic. But Doctor Who, no, I will. In Star Trek, you have races that appear homogenous, like the Klingons are warriors, the Ferengi are capitalists, the Romulans are like tricksy, they're all like espionage and stuff. But the more time you spend with a race in Star Trek, the more you kind of see it's more complex than that. And like there's actually a society underneath this that is just as diverse and, complicated as ours. But with Doctor Who, it suffers more because a lot of races are one-off, but even the ones we repeat, they're all kind of very one note. Every single member of the species is basically the same. Sometimes it works with like the Daleks, with the Cybermen, that makes sense, but this is just like, we don't see another member of Beep kind. In fact, I think we're told that Beep is the last of his kind. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's no reason for the entire Beep race to be evil. They just are. I guess the reason is to justify this magic space dust, but, you could write anything. You could say that this was some technology Beep stole from a long-gone war. Whatever. It's Doctor Who. Get creative. So I was a little disappointed that, because it suggests moving forward in the era, this is still kind of going to be an issue where every race is pretty one note. And I generally kind of like, you can have the races that kind of focus. I say look at the real world. Pick any like big superpower, America, China, Russia, UK, France. Like they're all kind of stereotypes associated to these nations and these peoples. And the further away you are from them, the kind of more those stereotypes, those like one note pieces are what you think of when you think of the nation or the people or whatever. And the more you actually interact or delve in and learn about them, you learn that like, yes, there are biases towards these certain things in their cultures, but they're much more complex. And that's just something I generally prefer. Greetings from Poland, the General Grievous. We've got some European representation. Yeah, I usually don't live stream immediately after the episodes come out. It's usually a few days. But I'm happy to see not just so many people, but so many new faces as well in the chat. Going on. Yeah, this was one of the clever bits that I might have thought was more Moffat, but a lot of the ways that the meta-crisis manifested itself in both Rose and Donna, it, like the fact that these creatures we were seeing all the time, like that's Daleks, who I learned recently actually don't have one eye. Oh my gosh, I still have TARDIS ambience running. Dalek mutant. Did you know this? Because this was news to me. Here is, the Dalek, honestly, Emperor, no, from Dalek. You've got his eye here, yeah? And then you've got his vestigial eye and a mouth. And I had never noticed those. Like, this isn't the best image. But, oh, here we go. That's a good one. Yeah. So Rose is like me. In fact, this is even more. You can see the face. You've got the eye, but you've got the other eye, and like vestigial nostril and mouth. Um, I never realized those little details, and yeah. But anyway, the audience probably won't know that, and yeah, they're the representations, and we didn't see the ood unless maybe we did. In fact, where is that picture when they're all? Come on, I want to get the one of Beep just kind of like in the pile. Yeah, we didn't see the ood because I'm like, I would have been amazed if like nobody saw that from the trailers. But yeah, a lot of the clever things, I don't even think I'll remember them all. But with Donna, I don't like that they extended it as far as like Rose is non-binary because the Doctor regenerates into male and female and they don't care, which one doesn't make a lot of sense because the meta crisis came from the 10th Doctor when they were all male. In fact, there's a little bit of confusion where the Donna seems to be aware of like all the regenerations that have happened since 10. I don't really get that, but the thing is like that's why she's non-binary. And as someone non-binary myself, I was like, I don't like that. Especially because the implication is now that she's gotten rid of all of the meta-crisisness from her body, are we saying that she's not actually non-binary? Because that's probably not the case. I would be amazed if they did that. She even went like, now I can be myself. Well, yourself is still non-binary. I really didn't like that line. Yes?
Hold this.
Hi, Cupid.
She wants cuddles and I want to eat.
Hi, Cupid. Oh, yes. There we go. You'll probably hear some lines now from Cupid. But yeah, I was like, ooh, I really... I don't like that line. But anyway... Yeah, going on. I think Donna's mom was great for this whole thing. Just how she acted, trying to protect Donna. I think the kind of slow realization, the slow remembrance of Donna was done really well. You know, there we go. There's Cupid making noises. She even, like, says the Doctor's name when she was never told it. And, like, I caught up on that. But, you know, it's... I thought that part was really well done. The whole her slowly remembering, the mother trying to keep it all out away from her. There were some good jokes, like some things that got me, that I laughed at. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there's too much in this scene. Again, it's kind of weird. Like, I know this is the villain, and so I knew what was going to happen. I knew everything he was saying was a lie. I knew everything that was saying was a lie. After that line, when the Doctor asked Meep's pronouns, it was like, my pronouns are always the definite article. I was like, God, I gotta remember that one. I looked over to my wife and was like, Alex, that's one to write down. My pronouns are always the definite article. I am referred to as the Nathan. Brilliant. Yeah, I like Rose. Good on Rose for calling that out. And I also love the response. Everything about that was great. And I like the return to actual characters. Oh, again, Chibnall fans, I don't know if they'll stay around too long, but like, even the bit with Donna's mom, where she was like, can I say that she's gorgeous? Is that sexist? I'm like, that seems like an odd kind of conclusion to draw, but like, it was such I'm like the grandma, I don't, like it, how do I phrase it? It was just such like a real, like, yeah, I can see that person. Like, I know that people are like, I don't really understand like all the changes today, like, but I want to like respect them and be good. I was like, it was just, I don't know, those little moments there. Everyone felt like real people, I think. Yeah, here, my face when I see this new Sonic power. Here is the one where I was like, again, that's cool, but the Sonic is gonna become even more of a get out of jail free card. If Russell T Davies can keep writing like amazing character stories, I might not mind as much because those are so good. I will say this was not an amazing character story. There were great moments at the end, but this was kind of the bog standard of adventure with an okay character story, that just because it had to do the legwork to get in these next two stories where like kind of the real meat is gonna be, which isn't an excuse. You could still have written an exceptional story that did all these things. I just don't think this was good, but yeah, it wasn't great. I agree with what Sean said earlier. But yeah, I'm a little worried, like, either this ability is going to become overused, or like, now that we have it, there's going to be a lot of times where maybe why don't you use it? And yeah, I'm just a little disappointed. I'm not at all against the fact that Sonic can do this. It's new, it's bigger. I mean, I think we can just assume that this is no longer, strictly speaking, it is now a sonic screwdriver in the same sense a Swiss Army knife is a knife. Yes, part of it is a knife, but there's also some other stuff going on there. Like, I don't mean that, I mean the Sonic part, not the screwdriver. There's more than just Sonic going on. Although, yes, there's been more than screwdriver for quite a little while. Oh, see, there we go. What are you doing? They're just playing. I've got both of them. You see, I get the new office. It's in an entirely different floor to my wife. And you still get the dogs in the background. Welcome, everybody, to my live streams. There we go. Yeah, it's fine. I like to preface right now. This right here is an absolutely fine Doctor Who monster. Dang, now I'm doing it. I'll get into that later. But it's like that. It's not too high production value, compared to the Beep the Meep that was absolutely standout. Like, yes, I'm sure it's sturdily built and cost a good amount, but I kind of like that we're still, the Disney money doesn't now mean that we have gone overboard. I've complained a lot that I've complained. A lot of people have complained, that I pick any kind of big franchise, Star Trek, Star Wars, maybe even Doctor Who a few years ago, like, is a little more spectacle VFX than actual story. But I think this is a good sign. I almost wonder if this is their purpose, that like, yes, the shots, this shot, but block out this guy. And this shot is clearly a pretty high production value thing. But we're still sticking with like, no, we're going to tell the stories and like, it's not all about the visuals, because I don't think I could see any other big budget sci-fi putting that on the screen in kind of a loving way. I'm the kind of person where a certain level of production value I think is necessary. Like some of the Pertwee stuff where they first discovered the green screen exists, yeah, that's a little below the line. But I also think there's an upper limit where once you cross it, it's like the visuals always kind of start to detract from the story. I think it was sometime around the 11th Doctor, just time-wise and for Doctor Who. But we'll see. Russell T Davies, which I felt really good about all the budgeting stuff with Russell T Davies, because I learned the reason the 9th and I think particularly the 10th Doctor stuff are in standard definition was a choice Russell T Davies made. The BBC offered to do HD, and like he could have done HD, but he specifically wanted Doctor Who to be in standard definition because he felt that once you go HD, it becomes too much about the visuals. And eventually he relented, probably because he was leaving, and also, by the time it actually did become HD, it's like that's just what TV is now. But, yeah. It's Meepin time. That is right. I haven't talked much, actually. The Sonic Screwdriver. I don't think we get a great shot of it in here. Doctor. God, I spelled that wrong. Doctor Who, 14th Doctor Sonic. I am not a big fan of it. I'll say it right now. Conceptually, I get it as like an amalgamation of 9th, 10th, 11th, and I think even 12th is in there somewhere. I think it's these claws, though. It's a little much for me. I actually kind of like this a lot more. I don't hate it, but it's a little much for me personally. I think it's fine, like, in the show. Whoops. You know, you don't really see it much. Let's just get rid of those. Yeah, you don't see the Sonic much. It works as kind of like a thing that's just in the background that he's holding. Are we gonna see it? I mean, that looked a bit bigger. But yeah, it's personally, it's not my favorite design. But it's serviceable, definitely. And hey, especially after some previous regeneration, I will take serviceable. What's my favorite Sonic? That's a question. I don't know if I have one, really. I don't know. I read somewhere recently that someone would love to see another vertical Sonic, like the classic Doctors had, where you don't point it like the modern ones you kind of hold it out and the rod stands up. Like, imagine you were holding a mic. And the ones that kind of look like the thing the Doctors use to look in your ear. I'm like, yeah, actually, I think that'd be interesting to see a modern Sonic like that. Hey, puppers. They're just playing. There we go. Not much, I think, to say here. Again, it was very much like a not much to say. This scene, yeah, I mean, that's very 10th Doctor. I disagree with the fandom on a point here where if you're not in the fandom, which would surprise me given you're watching this live stream, I wouldn't say that people don't like that David Tennant came back. I'd say they might be a little disappointed or like they want something new rather than a return to a previous Doctor. And they think the 14th Doctor should be totally different from the 10th. He should look the same, and that is where the similarities end. I disagree. I think that's too far in the other direction. I think this should be the 10th Doctor. This should recognizably be the 10th Doctor. But it should be the 10th Doctor if he had lived through the experiences of the 11th, 12th, and 13th. A lot has happened since the 10th Doctor regenerated. He saved Gallifrey, he lost it again, he found Gallifrey again, but after they had sort of tortured him, and he was very angry about that. And then after getting Gallifrey back, he unceremoniously lost Gallifrey again, and then also found out a lot of stuff about his past we're not going to talk about, and just let decanonize itself. But, lots bloody happened. I think if you watched the David Tennant era and then jumped straight into this, it should be the 10th Doctor, but it should feel a little bit jarring because you just skipped, 3 whole regenerations and 1,000 years of this character's life. I didn't finish the 10th Doctor era. I watched through a bit of it. I kind of stopped during the library stuff. But I don't think this feels jarring. He's got the one line where he's like, oh, I love Donna. Oh, do I say stuff like that now? And I liked the attempt to kind of acknowledge that. I don't know if necessarily it would be so out of character for I mean, it kind of is. He's the one who's, I love you, of course you do. Or it's like, you know what I was going to say. I just think I would like a little bit more of that in there. It almost felt like a little bit of 13 as he said that. I do like, though, that we're not absolutely erasing Jodie. There were several references to the fact he was just a woman. He was just a woman. There were several references to the fact he was just a woman. Oh, my God. There were several references to the fact he was just A woman. There we go. No, I'm sorry. I love the psychic paper joke of, that says mistress. He's like, ah, damn it, catch up. I think we should. I think we should keep Jodie as like a thing that happened. I'm absolutely loving. I want to see Big Finish really do her right, like they did with the Sixth Doctor. I absolutely hate the character, if you can call it that, of the 13th Doctor. The only character trait the 13th Doctor has is being consistently incredibly out of character in pretty much every possible way. But I don't think we should totally erase her era. I think we should just forget about the Timeless Child. You know, there's a difference. Oh boy, look at me. I'm making those Chibnall fans run away again. Look at that. Actually, this holds up a lot better. Their makeup surprisingly works better when you put it under the light. And I think their jaws do kind of move, don't they? Oh, maybe they don't. Yeah, never mind. Let me take that back. It would have been nice if their jaws moved a bit. But, yeah. I loved the Shadow Proclamation coming back. I was really disappointed when like Moffat took over, that kind of went away. I like there being some constants in kind of Doctor Who. Like the Time Lords in the classic, and I really especially love like the extended media, the Big Finish, is just kind of existing in the background, is these sort of ultra powerful beings, essentially gods. I really like that. It's why I loved when we got them back in the modern Who. I think that was even before I got into Big Finish. And like, I can't wait to see some stories with the Time Lords just about. Yeah, let's see how that went. But I like the idea of the Shadow Proclamation just kind of being such a constant thing in the galaxy that no matter where the Doctor ends up, it's around. And what I really hope, especially with just how visual this episode was with the damage to London, with what I know, some of the lines from like the trailer, that the threat is going to be obvious. I hope we get back to Earth actually develops. One of the things I really loved in the Russell T Davies era that Moffat just threw away, was that Earth was becoming aware of aliens. Russell T Davies wasn't afraid to diverge the Doctor Who Earth from ours. And I like that. What's the Torchwood line? The 21st century is when everything changes. I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'd quite like to see stuff actually start to change in the 21st century. And I don't mind the whole, like, oh, humanity just forgets about everything. Like, that's kind of what all the classics were. But after Russell started making us learn, it's kind of disappointing when it just becomes so accepted, like, by the time of Capaldi, that's like, yeah, we just forgot, you know. I'm sure some people were, like, pregnant when the monks took over, or, like, had families that are now dead, but we just forgot. So that's something I am hoping for in Russell T Davies too. And honestly, I would be amazed if we don't get, like, that was kind of his whole thing, Russell's, was that he's great at those character stories. It sounds unfair to say, but it's like I almost don't think he really cares about the sci-fi aspect and the plots as much. Which is probably why Moffat writing for Russell T Davies was such a dream team. But often I felt Russell could take... I don't want to say he didn't take it seriously, because to a point, Doctor Who has always kind of been like technology so advanced that it might as well just be magic. But I always felt... it's hard to describe what I mean, but even in the classics... Usually when there was some, like, magical technology, it felt a little more grounded. Less so in Moffat's era, but it was more than Davies, where there was at least the smoke screen of, like, a technical justification, but in Russell T Davies, it felt a lot more just, like, random technobabble to justify it. And I mean, Davies Someone might throw something from the classics I'm forgetting, but Davies is the era where we actually introduced, like, yeah, no, they're just witches. They just use magic. You know, we had kind of storylines like that. Whereas in the classics, if you could have the same story, but probably would just been like, oh, technology's so advanced we just can't understand it. It kind of, I don't know if you're getting my meaning here, but yeah, it's why I'm excited to see Russell T Davies in the past 15 years has just become a better writer, and so I expect this era to be very similar to what it was originally, but some things will improve, and I'm just hoping that some of these are the bits that improve. They are not gonna make it up those stairs. There we go.
I think she was looking for me.
Yeah, you might have to take her back.
In this week, she's turned into a mama's girl for some reason.
She is 9 weeks old. She is a very little thing.
She is the size of a jumbo potato.
I like how I like Donna as a mother. I really like that. I mean, she makes sense. She's not a totally different person, but it's also giving her a very clear exit to not being around at the end of these 3 episodes. I mean, obviously she's not going to go with because she's got Rose now. And I'm glad. I'm glad we're undoing this sort of injustice of the Tennant era, just not the ways we've done it. We're going to get there. But, yeah. Look at that. Yeah, I don't think the CGI... Oh my god, Disney, it's that frame. It's the frame you're showing me, Disney. It's the frame... Where are these frames? Are you making them up? They exist. Disney, where are these frames? You got that frame. Oh my god. There we go. Look at that thing. Actually, is that a physical model? Did they have a physical model of the Sharptooth one? That's pretty good. Hang on. Go a few frames. Oh no. That's... As a frame, that is just as good as the physical model. Put it in motion and it... Yeah, I would have preferred if they stuck with the physical model for the whole thing. Going forward, here's the bit from the actually, in the trailer, wasn't this in Zero Gravity? Are we gonna have more Beep the Meep? I mean, I know there was the line of, like, I'll escape, but, I guess that means we're gonna have more Beep the Meep? Because I swear he was in this room in the trailer, but, like, floating around. Also in this outfit, though. Have I just forgotten? I don't know. I don't remember. That frame's not as good as the CGI. It's the teeth. I don't get why they had the teeth. Like, just stick with the adorableness, you know? I think that would have just worked better. Yeah, and, well, here's an example of kind of the fantastical is you have these massive, like, cracks in London. We'll probably see a lot more. And when they undo the explosion, they seal to the point where the road literally reforms around. It like, the road grows back. And I was like, that's a little... I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoy the Russell T Davies era. The 9th and 10th Doctors and stuff. But, you know, I do have complaints. And so, I guess it's just like, well... It looks like these complaints are still going to stick around, but if I accept that, I can enjoy them just as much. I thought this whole scene... Oh my gosh, sorry, there's something in my throat. Give me 1 second. There we go. I thought this whole sequence was really well done. This is where the episode actually gripped me. You know, hey, you got Russell T Davies doing character work. But I really enjoyed this whole thing. I mean, it kind of felt like we've seen it before, which again is a shame when I want 14 to be a little different to 10, where I get vibes of like when it was him and Wilf, when it was him and Rose in Downing Street. I don't think him and Martha did this, but I think even if you made it a different Doctor, like, because it's 10, it feels so familiar. Like, lost my train of thought, but yeah, I still thought it carried the emotion. I just think it was, yeah, I mean, this is where the episode was good. I have very few complaints after this point. But I like getting back to the emotions I care about in this show. And I mean, I know Donna's not going to die because, well, I've seen more scenes of her in the trailer that haven't happened yet. Like, there's a scene in the trailer where she knows what the TARDIS is. Like, no, well, I'm not going to say nobody, but pretty much everyone in the audience knows Donna is not going to die here. I thought maybe near the end, before they gave it up, they might say she is gonna die, but she's got some time because it's split with Rose. But oh, hang on. I might have to close those doors because you can hear the TV upstairs. All right, I'm back. Hey there. Honestly, I loved the ep. That reaction thing is in the way. I don't know. I'm experimenting with that reaction button, and I know not everyone didn't. Okay, I haven't had time to check the other episodes. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be good at least. It's not a bad episode. It just wasn't a great one for me. But I expect we did the legwork. So I think the next two episodes, they have the potential to be a lot better at least. Going forward, yeah, not too much surprising there. I am interested to learn how Beep the Meep is working for presumably the toy maker. This was the weakest part of the episode for me. Oh my god, welcome to 2 weeks off. I need a drink. Been a fan of the show since I was a teenager, and this sort of sparked my love. Oh yes, I have probably been about, I might have even been before a teenager, honestly. I've been watching the show for a while. But yeah, I'm back to being, excited about Doctor Who. I think like a lot of the fandom is opposed to maybe more casual viewers. I'm really excited for 15, more so than Tennant, actually. But yeah, I really can't wait for 15. But here we go. You've joined Lewis just in time for me to complain about this just felt really weak. I don't understand the point of like why a male presenting Time Lord would never think of this, especially if you could just let it go. But like, you had, I feel this just really undermines the end of season 4. Is it? Where like the whole big thing, like if Donna ever remembers me, she will die. Like, just it was the big final, and yes, this was always gonna do it a bit, but like the resolution of having Rose have it pass through Rose, so it's not as bad. It didn't kill her. I think was enough. When you had like, oh, I can just literally get rid of it by deciding to. Why didn't that work before? Why didn't you think of that before? Like, you just got rid of it, and I understand the purpose of it in like the story is that you need to get rid of, or let me guess, they want, rather than technically needing, they want to get rid of all this super knowledge that Donna and Rose have. Fair. I probably also do, but why give it to them in the first place? Like, they needed it so that Rose and Donna could, fix the rocket. But why not just write that it faded away after that initial explosion? The whole point was the human brain couldn't hold the Time Lord brain. So why not say that the explosion was the brain going away, like the Time Lord knowledge going away, but because it was split between two people, it hurt, but it didn't kill them. I just felt so weak to say you can just let it go. Can the doctor do that? Like, I don't know. I understand this, but it was just out of nowhere. Yeah, that was just very weak. It, like, the story needed the energy to be gone, so they just decided it to be gone. Russell, this was not a great first-time backstory. You're gonna have a lot of great ones, I'm sure. This was just not, I'd be really interested to know what the casual audience who, like, loved Tenet, maybe loved a bit of Smith, but, like, stopped watching and came back for Tenet. I'd love to know what they thought. Particularly if they're not the kind of person who would just be like, Tenet's on screen, so I love it. Which, if that's good enough for you, cool. That's never been enough for me. I'm like, okay, you brought someone back, but can you do something with them? Even back here, when I was like, it's nice to see these old sets. It's like, I want substance, though. You know, I want substance with the new people. I didn't realize Cyberdog was in such a what looks like historic district. I've heard of this store, but I have never been. Yeah, then we're getting... Ooh, is there anything in, like, a poster that could be interesting? I think there was a Saxon poster in one of the trailers, but maybe I'm misremembering something. This does look good, like, him with the TARDIS. I think the lighting in the windows is different. I don't think Jodie had that, but that is Jodie's little sign. It's still Jodie's TARDIS. I think they just swapped the lights out. Well, Jodie's TARDIS on the outside, at least. Which is a good-looking TARDIS, like that exterior box. And as soon as they opened the door, I was like, yes, we're gonna see it. Because I didn't know if we'd see it in this episode or not. We already talked about this. Yeah, I love it so much more than the last one. It's not my favorite. I hope one day we'll surpass Capaldi. I like it better when some of the lights aren't white, but it's a good TARDIS. And I hope we see other rooms. Like, look at that. Actually, can I get the shot with the purple there? Because I think if you just turn off these middle lights, I like it a lot more. I think there's something about pure white and lit everywhere that's very generic sci-fi to me. It's very hard not to feel generic. Like, unless you're that one ship from A New Hope, which is probably where it comes from, it feels generic. Even classic Doctor Who, it doesn't feel generic because while it is very white, it is not like everything is as absolutely maximum lit as it could possibly be. The modern takes on the classic TARDIS are, and they feel a lot more generic. Not totally generic, because yes, the TARDIS is still very iconic. You have the roundels, you have the old console room, you have stuff like that, but they lean much more generic. And this is gorgeous. This right here. Just a few things, like, I don't know how you could customize it. It'd be hard other than clutter, but I think that's just all you need. You need the equivalent of Capaldi's bookshelves, and then this could be a new favorite very easily. But even just any kind of new light, like this blue lights, it works a lot better. But it's a TARDIS I'm very happy to spend the next several years in. In fact, I don't think I've ever spent that long in a TARDIS, like, because I didn't watch them as they aired until Jodie. But how long did we actually have Capaldi's TARDIS? Probably about that, like, 5 years. I don't know. And yeah, I said before, I love the little coffee machine joke. Already setting the TARDIS on fire in your first day. She's probably not happy about that. And yeah, there's no extra thing I stuck around. I was hoping for like a sort of shooty, maybe like, what the hell is going on here? But yeah. Louis, is it Louis or Louis? I don't know. We have a lot of homonyms in the chat today. Some people calling the episode woke, and I see nothing woke about it. I can very easily see how you would get to that conclusion. I mean, I might about to be define woke. It's not woke. It's just reflecting the new standard. Like, I think probably what you'll have two big reasons that comes from. The first is Donna's mother line of like, she's gorgeous. Like, I don't know, is that sexist? That line doesn't need to be there. It doesn't serve any point in the story. It's just there. I don't mind it. I think it's like, yeah, that seems like something Donna's mom would say. I mean, I already kind of talked about that one. But the bigger one is when they're talking to Beep to Meep, and Yasmin just like, you assume he pronouns. And then the doctor's like, oh yeah, what are your pronouns? And we got that amazing line. And that is just what normally happens in a lot of environments now. When I was in Seattle in Bellingham, like on the west side of my state for university, yes, it was a university which is more liberal, and yes, Seattle deserves its reputation. I love it, by the way. I love Seattle, but yes, it is fully deserving of its ultra-liberal reputation. That's why I love it, but it's fully deserving of its reputation. Yes, that just happens. Even in my job, like, the pronoun field is a lot of things. When I go and hear someone speak, for university, for work, for anything, more often than not now, I will hear them say, hello, my name is yada yada, he, him, she, her. Very rarely like a they, them, but that's kind of the point I'm making, is these aren't trans or non-binary people. They're just what you would have called normal. They're the cis men and women who are just like, yeah, you say your pronouns now because we know that's not an obvious thing. And yeah, I'm sure the people who call this episode woke would also call that woke. I would also hazard a guess that they would be more concentrated in the parts of the world that don't do that. That are the more conservative parts of the world. But screw them. I don't know. That's my response. Like, yeah, I'm not surprised that some people are saying that. Not at all. But I also think they don't realize that that's just how the world is now. Like, they're not even particularly pushing boundaries there. They were just reflecting what I would imagine London is like. Because London is it's a major, major city. So London, at least the population in it, probably lean more liberal. I know the UK government doesn't, generally. But, yeah, I would imagine that that's just what London is like. I've never been, but... I know Russell T Davies is back, but he's finding his footing again, as it's been years since he's back on Doctor Who. I don't know if I'd necessarily say that. There could be... The story might not be as good as it could be, because this is the first new sets, new Doctor, technically. Technically new companion. But I think it's more to do with this story had a lot of things it needed to do for the plot of future stories. But I would not be surprised if, like, the process... I mean, heck, this is a new production facility. It's now under Bad Wolf Productions, like, in a different location. Is it still in Wales? I don't actually know. They clearly did location filming in London, but I don't know where Bad Wolf is based. For some reason, my brain thinks it's in Australia. But it probably isn't. Bad Wolf Productions headquarters. Cardiff, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think 2 will be the better one. Oh, yeah, absolutely, because now we have Donna. We have... Well, yeah, that's what we need. We have Donna. We can start doing Toymaker stuff. We can get into an actual story. Like, I guess Russell couldn't really do character work, which is his strong point, because Donna wasn't her character yet, you know? Like, Donna didn't have the memories of season 4. Like, she's functionally the same character from the start of the Christmas invasion. But not even then, because that Donna started in the TARDIS. Like, so, yeah, actually, it makes sense why he might be weaker, because he can't really do what he's strongest at. You're actually from Wales. I've never been to the UK. I'll probably make it there at some point. Probably will hit Cardiff, like, just to see the city center, like the Torchwood stuff. I recently started Torchwood. I was surprised how much I'm enjoying Torchwood. Like, people are absolutely right that Chibnall's writing in Torchwood and Doctor Who is absolutely night and day. Sometimes, in some episodes of Torchwood, I can see his failings that were from Doctor Who, but they still are in, like, episodes that really hold up. It used to be, you could look at the Wikipedia list for, like, the next season of Doctor Who, and you could see the ones that had written by Chris Chibnall on it were going to be bad. The ones that didn't were going to be the highlights. Not necessarily good, but the highlights. And I was like, wow. I remember I watched, I don't know the name of the episode, but it's the one where they learn the rift is taking people, not just depositing monsters. And it's one of the few ones I noticed it said written by Chris Chibnall. I'm like, oh no, here we go again. And then I was like, actually, yeah, that was a very, like, emotional and good story with maybe 1 or 2 nitpicks. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm about to get into apparently the good stuff of Torchwood, so we'll see. I can now understand why they thought, at least on paper, Chibnall was a good pick for the showrunner. Yes, he was also the only pick, but I'm like, okay, I understand now why you went, yeah, Chibnall can run Doctor Who. Wonder if there's a single... I kind of like the Power of 3. Yeah, there we go. There is a Chibnall episode I like. Like, actually written by Chibnall. There are episodes of his era that I like. I like the Universe Frog. I actually like... what's the one where, like, Graham talks to the doctor about his cancer? I actually like that episode, and a lot of people don't. And I'm a lot less critical of the scene than most people. I don't like that the doctor actually just kept fiddling with their TARDIS, but I really liked how they showed the doctor, like, doesn't necessarily always know what to say. I totally understand all the criticisms behind it. Yeah. And Power the Doctor is fine if all you're after is nostalgia. It's an absolutely awful story, but it is carried by some great fan service. Well, it's a good if you don't know. I've actually watched it a few times because when I want to watch an episode of Doctor Who, I don't want to commit to the length of a classic story, but it's got a bit of everything. You know, it's got some modern, it's got some of the classic Doctors. It's all right. It's all right. And also it was the last one, which helps. I knew 10 was at the end of it. Yeah, how long did we go for? 1:20. That was pretty good. I'm very happy that the chat was so active, and with everyone was new, I believe. Yeah, I will just keep doing this then. For the 60th, I'll probably be back for Christmas. And unless there's, like, weird scheduling conflict with Star Trek, I'll probably be back for season 15. So you can tune in next week. Actually, let me check my calendar. I'll do it, but is it the same time? Yeah, it should be the same time these next few weeks after all the episodes. Saturdays at noon Pacific Standard Time, straight after the episode airs, and we can talk about Doctor Who. I'm very happy with how this went. I hope everyone likes the thumbnail. I'm pretty happy with it for something my wife put together in a day. That's very, yeah, I didn't think I'd have a character this time. If you liked what you saw and you want more, I've reviewed every modern Star Trek in the similar fashion since Lower Deck Season 2. I've done watch-alongs. I'm doing watch-alongs of TOS. We'll probably do that after Doctor Who ends. And I got some other stuff going on as well. You'll notice videos have been a little sparse. The last upload was a while, but I'm sitting on one that I just have to upload and get the thumbnail for. I'm going to get back into that. And I've had a Star Trek focus, but I will probably branch out a little bit and diversify, become less reliant on Star Trek. And I don't have a main Doctor Who video planned yet, but something could come to me very easily. So with that, I will say thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time!